With smarter looks, an upgraded interior and more sophisticated media connectivity, Kia's revised third-generation Carens is a much improved 7-seat mid-sized MPV. Though a little smaller than some rivals, it offers as much versatility as most likely buyers will need, and potentially diesel efficiency can now match the class standard too. In other words, you get pretty much everything families are looking for in this segment at pricing to undercut most rivals. The changes made to this revised third-generation Carens model haven't included any significant alterations to the engines on offer or to the ride and handling package provided. There wasn't much point, since likely buyers won't be people particularly prioritising driving dynamics. They'll care about efficiency though, which is why the Korean brand has tweaked the gear ratios of the volume 114 brake horsepower diesel model to make it cleaner and more economical. And given buyers wanting auto transmission, a far more frugal DCT dual clutch gearbox option on the 139 brake horsepower diesel variant. This self-shifter replacing the old tech torque converter auto previously used. Otherwise, it's as you were. Almost all Carens buyers choose the diesel units I've just mentioned, both 1.7-litre CRDI power plants from the Kia conglomerate's back catalogue. Expect 109 grams per kilometre of CO2 and 67.2 miles to the gallon on the combined cycle from the 114 brake horsepower unit. The only other engine on offer is a 133 brake horsepower 1.6-litre GDI petrol power plant that struggles a little in terms of both pulling power and overall efficiency. Through the bends, a firmish setup means that body roll is well controlled, but there's not really enough feedback through the steering for any real degree of driving enjoyment, despite a flex steer system that allows you to vary steering weight. As before, this Kia only comes in this one single body shape. Unlike Ford, Citroën and Renault, Kia doesn't see the need to offer separate 5- and 7-seat body shapes in this segment. It never did previously either, but older generation Carens models offered the choice of either 5 or 7 seats. Here, as we'll see in a minute, you've a 7-seat only package. Fortunately, that's what most buyers in this sector want. To reassure these people that this MPV is a current and credible choice, Kia has made a few updates to the exterior styling as part of the mid-term package of updates we're examining here. Most of the alterations feature here at the front, where an updated version of the Tiger Nose grille is complemented by revised bumpers and restyled front fog lamps. Time to take a seat behind the wheel. It was at this point, with the original version of this third-generation model, that some potential customers lost interest and went to go and look at something else. There wasn't really anything wrong with the basic ergonomic design. It just wasn't very interesting, which is something that Kia's designers have done quite a lot to fix with this mid-term facelift. And provided you opt for a plusher model like this one, you'll notice quite a lot of difference. Freshly added metallic and gloss black accents lift the cabin, as does this smart carbon effect dashboard trim. More significant change, though, lies in the updates Kia has made to infotainment provision. This Carens now fitted with a proper colour touchscreen, a display that's 7 inches in size on standard models, or 8 inches if you go for a top-spec variant like this one. Via this, you can duplicate the functionality of your smartphone on this centre dash monitor, thanks to compatibility with the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto systems. Time to take a seat in the second row. If you happen to be one of those people who own the pre-2013 second-generation version of this car, you'll notice that things are much more flexible here. The old bench replaced in this case by 3 separate reclining and sliding chairs. Now that makes it much easier to properly accommodate 3 adults, but if you are only transporting 2 people, then the middle seat can be folded forward to create a useful table complete with cup holders. All well and good, but in the eyes of its detractors, the issue the Carens has always had lies in its lack of third-row seating space. So, how does this car fare in reality? Well, this effective middle-row tilting and sliding mechanism makes access to the very rear a lot easier than you might expect it to be. Once you get seated back here, though, it's clear that, for adults at least, things are going to be very restricted indeed, unless particularly accommodating fellow passengers seated in front of you are prepared to push their sliding seats right forward. Now, this issue is, of course, relative. If you're the kind of owner likely to buy a Carens, you'll be the sort of person who won't be likely to use these fold-out chairs very often anyway. If, when you do, they're only going to be occupied by young children, then what's provided here will probably be quite sufficient. There are storage trays both sides, and the one on the right has a cup holder. And luggage space? Well, as you would probably expect, with all 3 rows raised like this, there isn't much, just 103 litres, though a small compensation in this regard is provided by this neat underfloor compartment that can be used to stow away the removable load cover. Of course, as I mentioned previously, the majority of the time, most owners won't be using the third seating row. And with these 2 chairs folded into the floor, there's 492 litres of space on offer below the window line. Push forward the second row too, and you get a usefully flat floor and up to 1,650 litres of total fresh air. In summary, this remains a very credible choice in a family world that'll usually see a multitude of expenses take precedence over a plush people carrier. Food, clothing, heating, iPods, Xboxes, cutting-edge Nike trainers, full suspension mountain bikes and so on. Once these essentials have been provided for your brood, there are often scant funds remaining for a vehicle to transport them between their football matches, dance classes, swimming lessons and youth clubs. What is a parent to do? Buy one of these? You could certainly make a case for it.